Y'all, I'm a veteran, so I get the autistic thing about time. I have to start on time, or I have something. This is not what I'm talking about. This is just some references and recommended reading lists if you want it. So what is magic? I'm Tig. Yes. The only qualification I have to give this presentation is that I've been doing magic for 24 years, just about every day. I consider myself more. I was a magician before I was a pagan. I've been doing magic for a long time. And what is magic? A lot of people don't ever think about that or worry about it, but then there's other of us who are like magic nerds, and that's all we talk about. So Crystal asked me a few minutes ago, what is a woman? If you think about it, that's a very difficult question, right? It's a difficult question to answer, and we throw words around and we think we know the definition, but if you think about it for a few minutes, you'll start to wonder if you really do. So first I'm going to run through a history of the ontology of magic, and ontology is like how people think about magic, what we believe about magic. We, Homo sapiens sapiens, did not always believe what we believe today about magic. This belief and relationship with magic has changed. So we're going to go back a little bit to only about 400,000 years ago, just a little ways. And we as Homo sapiens sapiens have existed for at least 400,000 years. And then we have ancestors who have lived much longer than that, right? Other types of humans that died out. Now, our ancestors were just as evolved and developed as we are today. Our society thinks that our ancestors are dumb. That's the general assumption that we have made about our ancestors since about the Industrial Revolution. Well, they don't have cell phones, so they just must not have really understood what life was all about. But they have the same brain capacity that we do, the same ability to understand and process information and to be depressed, right? And what we know about their interaction with magic from the very few cultures that have never been colonized is a completely different than how we interact with magic in the Western world. First of all, magic is primarily seen as a community with spirits. It is mostly spirit magic. Like, I'm going to say like over 90% of spirit magic. This is what magic is. Magic is dealing with the spirits. And I'm having a brain fart right now, which is something I do. I am mentally ill and actually literally brain damaged. So I have these pauses where I can't think of the word I'm trying to use. Animism. And a lot of times we believe, animism is making a recurrence for the last few years, and a lot of people, probably everybody in this room, is familiar with the basic concept of animism. But this is something I would highly recommend everybody, if you really want to understand magic, that you sit and just think about this concept of animism. It's easy to say, well, everything has a spirit. That's easy to say. Everything has a spirit. Everything has a spirit. And not only does everything have a spirit, but everything has consciousness. Not the same kind of consciousness we do. Everything has a different kind of consciousness, but an awareness of themselves and the universe around them. Everything. And magic in our ancestors was primarily the act of interacting with all of these spirits. Now, almost everybody in our ancestors' times was initiated. And again, this is a different meaning of the word, a different than how we say it today. Now, some of us here are in the cool kid magic clubs. Some of us have covens, and some of us are in other groups, and others are not. We're solitary practitioners. But if you belong to a magic organization, usually what happens is you study for about a year. The tradition is a year and a day, and then if you meet the qualifications, you will be initiated, which means that you are now an official magician, right? But an initiation in indigenous culture usually happens at the beginning of puberty. And it is usually involves an ordeal meaning something difficult, something that causes either physical and or psychological pain. And the entire purpose of this initiation is so that you gain the ability to interact with the spirit world. You gain the ability to sense, to see, to interact, to talk to, at some level, spirits. We all have a different ability. Some people see, some people hear, some people feel, but you have some kind of connection with the spirit world. Now, this wasn't an all the time thing. The group healer, whether you want to call them the shaman, the witch, whatever, the spiritual person of the group, it was their job to deal with the spirits all the time, every day. But everybody needed to have a connection. That is literally what made you an adult. You are now a participatory member of the tribe, the group, because now you are part of the community of spirits that is also a part of this tribe. That made you an adult. That made you an acting member of the community, is the act of initiation. So nearly every single person had at least one real interaction with spirits in their life. Probably more than one, but at least one. As opposed to today, where if you say that you've had a spiritual experience, most people are going to think you're nuts, right? And we are the few who are talking about all this crazy talk, while everybody else out there does not even believe in the existence of spirit. And there's an attitude in magic, and I'm mostly talking about like the Western tradition magic, that we are just now starting to figure out these things, where there's a lot of research and new books. There's new books about magic being published just about every week. It's amazing. But our ancestors they were doing magic not for funsies, for survival. It was literally, this is not I go to work and now I spend time with my partner and now I do magic. No, magic is everything that you do all day long. It is integrated into every single act throughout the day, because every single act is a spiritual act, because we are spirits and we are always interacting with spirits. So this doesn't mean that we're going around floating around like, oh, I'm spiritual, like Luna Lovegood, right? Mm-hmm. No, magic is very much about being in this reality, living this life, and surviving and getting our needs met. So I would argue that our ancestors had a much deeper and more real understanding of magic than we even have any concept of at this time. Then one day we decided to invent civilization. Depending on your definition, that date can greatly vary, but I like to use the definition that civilization is when we decided to sit down. We decided we're tired of being out here and traveling with the environment, with the animals, because that's what we are, and be as part of the natural cycle. We're going to build a house, we're going to hide from all that stuff, and we're going to sit down and focus on being comfortable. And almost immediately, the definition of magic changed to the energy model of magic. So there's several different models of magic. First, we have the spirit model, then the energy model, and and this has basically been proven. There's the Rhine Bioenergy Lab. It's on the list that I handed out. Has done research where people will sit down and meditate and be able to. What Ryan has a fancy word for it. It's the subtle energy field. But most of us in this room would call it an aura. Some people don't like that word, but that's the word I use. The energy field that surrounds us. They've been able to detect this in the lab, and they've even been able to detect that people who are good at meditation can manipulate their aura. This has all been measured in the laboratory. So we know that the energy model of magic is real, but it's also kind of really not saying anything, because everything is magic. Physics tells us everything is magic. We're all magic. Everything is spirit. I'm sorry, when I said magic, everything is energy. All of us, we're just slow energy. Light is fast energy, but we're all energy. Everything is energy. So, of course, magic is energy. And so the spirit model of magic is right, but and I'm sorry, the energy model, I keep getting my words mixed up. The energy model of magic is right, but it's also kind of a zero-sum statement because everything that we ever do is energy. Then along came the Dark Ages, right? Now, while civilization is developing, we are slowly taking magic away from the people and moving it into organized religion, into the priesthood. And they slowly, over eons and eons, are taking this power for themselves and away from the common people. But the Catholic Church is pretty much when it was like, no, this is ours. Now, mind you, again, our ancestors did not think the way we think. Like everybody believed in magic. Okay, it's not like we're like in today we're the weird ones that believe in magic. Most of the people don't. Everybody believed in magic. The Catholic Church believed in magic. The perception of what happened during the burning times is that nobody believed in magic, and we're like, hey, there's these crazy people over here who are play pretending. Let's go kill them. No, they killed them because they believed in magic. And there's people over here doing magic. Now here's the thing. It's not that they were doing magic. That's not why they were persecuted, because the Catholic Church was in the business of magic. Before there was actually a council where they voted and said the act of transubstantiation, when the priest blesses the wafer and the wine, and that literally turned, the Catholic Church used to believe that literally turned into the flesh and blood of Christ. That was a magical act. Doing confession was a magical act. Priests were in the business of doing magic. As the Industrial Revolution came along and we invented materialism, the Catholics said, "Oh, no, it's not magic. It's just spiritual," right? But the priest, so you were allowed to do magic if you were the right person, if you were a priest who was ordained by the church, because an ordination is a type of initiation. And you were doing the right kind of magic. We can do magic we can deal with angels, we can hear confessions, we can try to save your soul, but we're not going to tell fortunes for people. Oh no, if the king asks, that's fine. But if Farmer John wants to, no. And they were doing magic in the right way. They were dealing with the right kind of spirits. Now, witches were not the right kind of people, mostly women, right? And they were not doing the right kind of magic, and they were not ordained by the church. And that's what the problem was. Now, I want to emphasize that the burning times were not so much a persecution of witchcraft as they were a persecution of women. Most people who were burned at the stake or in other ways murdered were probably did not practice magic or witchcraft at all. It was more of a persecution of women. But the idea that they didn't believe in magic, they absolutely did. You just had to do the right kind of magic. Then we had Renaissance come along, and we invented these really cool things called capitalism and materialism. And almost immediately, again, we have another model of magic comes along. That's the psychological model of magic, which again, most of you are going to be familiar with. This is basically the idea that it's all in your head. You're just doing exercises, you're just doing mental exercises. A spirit is not a spirit, it's just a psychological construct. It's an egregore, whatever words you want to use. And we've also proven this. It's funny because I was watching the Bill Nye Save the World. If any of you have seen that on Netflix, and in one of the episodes, he's talking about, hey, that all this crazy spiritual healings aren't real. It's the placebo effect. You just think about it, and that changes your body. Well, what do you think we're talking about when we're talking about magic? Yeah. That's exactly what we're doing. So they say, oh, magic isn't real, magic is real. You're just using different words. You're just using different definitions, but that's exactly what we're talking about. We have, in sports psychology, when I was in high school, my teacher told us about this, about visualization, that there's people that will just sit and think about the performance that they're going to do over and over and over again, and this has been proven to have an effect on the performance. That's magic. That's what we're talking about. But again, give me a second. But then we had what I believe the most dangerous philosophy about magic is also created is new thought. Now, new thought is basically that all it is thinking. And this, you'll be familiar with this if you've ever read The Secret. That all you have to do is change your thoughts, and that's it. And if you just change the way you think, then your life will go great. But if you don't change the way you think and something bad happens to you, well, it's your fault. You just didn't think good enough. So I'm glad that, the field of psychology, nobody bothered to tell them that all you have to do is just change the way you think. That's it. That's right now, do it. And as we all know, if any of you have a brain, that's not easy to do. So new thought to me is just Christianity with extra steps. It's that guilt. It's all your faults. That's all you have to do. Now, our thoughts definitely do change, have a massive effect on our lives. But do we have complete and total control over it? Absolutely not. And then we get to World War II, where governments all over the world are dumping massive amounts of money into science and math and information technology, and the field of coding. I mean, I'm not trying to say secret codes. Basically, the intelligence services during World War II, which gave rise to the computer industry, also gave rise to the informational model of magic, which basically just says that magic is just pure data, because information is not susceptible to Einsteinian physics. It doesn't have any mass, and information can be transferred instantaneously anywhere in reality. And we also see this. I don't know a whole lot about cyber magic. It's not my bag. It's these people who are usually much smarter than me do that kind of magic. But we have seen this. Sometimes magic happens like that. Not all the time, but sometimes it is immediate. So we do see that there's something there as well. So no matter what model of magic we have, we see that there is some truth to it, and we see that our thoughts about what magic is have changed drastically over time. So then we get to, what is magic? Does anybody have an answer for me?
I didn't know there'd be a test.
My brain has the brain?
Yes, your brain has a brain. In Magic and Theory and Practice, Aleister Crowley said that magic is the science and art of causing change to occur in conformity with the will. Now, Aleister Crowley, that definition has basically been the definition of magic for the last 200 years, and or 150 and some change. I pulled every book I have off the shelf, every book on magic that I have off my shelf, and all of them defined magic as some variation of that. I checked several websites, and they were all definitions of that. It doesn't matter if you're reading a book on Wicca, you're reading a book on chaos magic. It doesn't matter what it is. It is almost always some kind of a variation on Aleister Crowley's definition. This is my problem with that definition. This is the entire reason why I'm giving this talk. I do not believe that magic exists for us to win at capitalism.
Then why do it? If I can't get rich, if I can't get laid, and I have to work for the rest of my life, why am I wasting my time with magic?
Exactly. Thank you. And I will answer your question in a second. But magic is something that has always existed, and independent of our existence, and it will exist after we're all dead and gone. It is not something that exists so that we can win, so that we can get the money, the American dream, right? California right about now. Anybody trying to buy a house, right? And what we're told in almost every magic book I've ever picked up, somebody just gave my partner a book of spells. And what is it? What did you say? Money, sex, love, power, revenge. Give me mine. I want my way. And that's what most people think magic is so that I can get what I want. But after my many years of studying the roots of magic and the history of magic, I firmly believe that magic is not any of that. Magic is about existing in right relation with the spirits that are around us. And it doesn't matter if you get anything or you don't. Now, it's very easy to do magic to get what you need, not exactly what you want. But you can get your needs met, absolutely. But that's not what magic is for. We exist in a community. We exist right now. This room is full of your spirit helpers, your ancestors, your deities, the spirits of this place, the spirits of our ancestors. This is why magic exists. We are the satellites. We're the communication. We're the radios. Us as witches. We are the go-between between us and between the community and the spiritual world. That's what magic is for, and that's what magic exists. So I'm going to give you 2 challenges, and then I'll answer any questions if you guys got them. The first challenge is to do 2 things with magic that maybe you've never thought about before. First of all, you can try to do magic to get stuff, to get money, to get wealthy, to get sex, to get power, but why do you want those things? Why do you want money?
So I don't have to work at a job I hate.
Right. So you don't have to be hate. So the job that you hate causes you stress and you're not happy, right? So what do you want? Freedom.
I thought we'd take a shortcut there.
Exactly. if you want sex, what is it that you want?
Companionship.
I'm sorry?
Connection with
Connection.
No,
You
I
want
don't.
intimacy.
No, that's
Right.
love. I don't want sex, I just want...
Right.
If
Well,
I
it's
want
just so- it's
companionship,
just
I will go to somebody who has similar interests in mine and will be their friend first.
right.
And that is separate from sex.
Right. But it's different
It's
kinds.
basically-
I did say
basically
connection.
fine, but-
I did this. This is
Specified a
connection.
connection. Yeah, I would
Different
point that
kinds-
out.
Different kinds of intimacy. Why? Because love and sex make us happy. So what is it that we're trying to do?
To be happy.
We're trying to be happy. So you could do magic to try. You could do magic. Remember, Aleister Crowley started out rich and popular and handsome, and ended up his life poor and alone. So in my perspective, somebody that doesn't have what I want doesn't have anything to teach me about magic. What I want is to be happy.
Yeah, but that was his opium.
Right? And so, is capitalism making you happy?
Yes.
No, well, it's not making me happy.
To a degree.
To a degree.
Capitalism makes me happy because I no longer have to work at a job I hate. I no longer have to go overseas and let people shoot at me to get some president in the news.
Right. Well, let's. I don't want to get into politics.
It
Yeah.
gives me a chance to quit work and stay at home.
Well, there's
and
many,
relax
but
and
see, that's the
so on.
thing. Okay, here's another
I can
point.
do that without capitalism.
Here's another point: is that don't try to force magic into how you want the problem solved. What you want, you have a problem that you need to be solved. Don't try to tell the spirits how to solve your problem. They have a wider perspective than they do. They know way more than you do. Just do the magic. Say, hey, this situation isn't making me happy. Please fix it. Yes, sir.
What makes me happy, what I want, what I ultimately want, is to be here now listening to this talk.
I appreciate that. And so to try to use your magic to make yourself happy, to heal yourself, to figure out what is your blocks, what is your problems, tackle those problems directly with the help of your number 2, build your spirits, build community with your spirits. You want to supercharge your magic? Get in touch with your ancestors. They are your number 1 pal and friend and ally to not only help you do magic, but to teach you do magic. You get in touch when people say, "Oh, get in touch with the nature spirits," and people say, "Well, I need to go on a hike. I need to go way out there." No, go in your backyard. Go in your backyard and learn who the spirits are in your backyard. Learn who the spirits are in your house.
Usually that's the jobs.
Yes. Yes. Build a community of spirits. You do those 2 things, I guarantee you, your magic career will be amazing. Does anybody have any questions? Yes.
Have a pause.
This is really actually helping clarify my life. So I've always spent my life doing things that I felt were meaningful or that I should do or that I like to do, and I hardly made any money. And people say, how did you live on the amount of money you make? So I don't know, it's magic. Well, it really was.
It really was.
But it wasn't because I didn't get what I wanted.
Right.
I wanted to be rich and famous and all that stuff. Didn't get that. And I didn't get a lot of money, but my needs were met.
But your needs
my
were
needs
met.
were met because I was doing the right thing.
Right.
and not asking for. Well, I was asking for stuff I didn't get,
Yes.
basically.
It's
But-
possible. It's possible to get money, lots of money, with magic, with black magic.
Well,
But-
I didn't get lots of money. I just got things I needed.
Yes.
Sometimes without money.
Yes, but it's
But if people ask me that question, it's like, well, if I thought about it, I'd realize it's impossible and I couldn't do it.
Right.
The only explanation is and this totally helps me understand.
Absolutely.
Magic works to give you what you need.
Absolutely.
But not necessarily what you want.
and that was what you want.
But you get what you need, which is what's really important.
Exactly.
Because I never had to work a job I hated,
That's amazing.
but I never made any money either.
I would argue that's a matter of vocabulary. It's like, for example, I had one friend who wanted to be a witch, and she went to Bob Clark, who was a famous witch in the day, and he says, no, I'm not going to teach you, you should go to England and study under Maxine Sanders. And so she said that she has no money, so she did a spell to allow her to go to England to study under Maxine Sanders, and her aunt died and left her enough money to go to England for a year. She forgot to word the
Yeah.
thing properly.
Well,
Yeah.
She
the
said, I want
argument
money,
is
and the
that
universe gave her
you
the
have to
money
ask
the
for it.
easiest possible way it could by killing a relative.
Yeah.
Would you argue then, if we're benevolent and we're connected to what is good and what is just and right within nature and or our ancestors, the spirits, then what we're trying to achieve or ask for will somehow come into our realm because we are connected to what is good and just
Right.
and right within nature and within the spirits and the ancestors.
Right.
So what you're arguing for is that goodness or that benevolence.
Well, me personally, I wouldn't say goodness. Like
That's an adjective.
Right. Like
I don't mean in that necessarily.
I want, like in my own personal practice, I the left hand of darkness and the right hand of life. I practice a balanced path. But yes, what you need is what's good and right for you. That's goodness for you. And the universe wants to give you what you want. In fact, your spirits are very often trying to give you what you want, and you're like, oh no, I didn't want it that way, and you walk away from it. Or like me, I get what I want and I get stressed out about it and drop it and walk away, because sometimes the thing that stresses us out the most is getting what we want.
So that would mean that if someone wanted something, let's say necessarily capitalistic, and that was what was good for them, and
Right.
someone else wanted something that was less capitalistic.
Well,
and
it's
was
not
good for them,
like capitalism.
Just because
Yeah.
of the conversation that was
Yeah.
going on earlier,
Right.
doesn't apply it.
What I'm saying is capitalism is the construct within which we live, and we have no choice but to be in this construct at this
Correct.
time, right? But I'm not trying to politicize it, and I'm not trying to basically make it fit inside this construct. Basically, what I'm saying is, if you are trying to get what your needs met, and a lot of us are not understanding is what the biggest thing that you can use magic for is not just material stuff, but spiritual, mental stuff, healing yourself, healing your trauma, because happiness is not just having stuff. Happiness is healing the trauma, and we all have trauma. If you live in America, you're traumatized. It might fit. Like, let's say I did a spell because I needed a place to stay. I was living in an apartment complex, and I was making $30,000 a year, and so I had a Section 8 house, right? I had a spouse and 3 children, and so my spouse we were struggling. My spouse did a spell for us to make more money. I got a better job. Immediately, we were priced out. They tripled the price of our apartment, right? We had 30 days to find some place to go, so we did another spell. Now, mind you, remember, everything you do is magic. So do a spell and then go out and do stuff. If you need a job, you need money, do a spell, go look for a job. You want love, do a spell and go on dates, right? Like your whole life should be intentional. But so we did a spell. We needed a place to stay, right? Bought a house in 30 days. It was amazing. Was it the house that I wanted? No, it was the house I needed, right? So is that capitalism? Yes. Now I have a house and I have a job. But that's what my family needed at that time. But there are other ways that the universe can provide for you outside the box. What I'm saying is, like, don't put limits. You need something, you need it, and sit back and watch how the universe provides for you. Because sometimes weird stuff happens very quickly, very rapidly. Oh,
You want me to tell the story?
tell the story.
This
This is Isaiah.
Hi everyone. I'm Isaiah. I'm
You're my partner.
I'm my partner. I'm Tate's partner. So I'm gonna jump back to about 6 months ago. 6 months ago, I was in an abusive relationship with a man who groomed me and sexually assaulted me several times. I was really in a bad mental space. I lived with, well, I'm just gonna say it, racists who were really mean to me and controlling. And I met Tig. And he started talking to me about, or she, excuse me, started talking to me about magic. And I started just talking to my ancestors. And I said, I am not happy. I am not safe. I am scared. I need help. And that was about end of January when I started doing that. Come February,
2 weeks later.
2 weeks later, I get a job. I work in IT at my college. I'm a college student to be a computer science major, so I got a job in IT. So I got a job. Dylan,
My son.
Tig's son, moved out of
Which was
Tig's
a whole
house.
series. Which was a whole series of events. My son is enrolled in a different college,
Yeah.
and there's a long commute, and he had been struggling with that for a year, and when COVID happened, he moved back in with us, and then we did the spell, and then the next day my son got a free dorm room, so he moved out, and that gave us space for Isaiah.
Me. So
With 2 weeks.
within 2 weeks, I was out of my abusive relationship. I was out of my abusive household, and I was happy and safe for the first time in my entire life.
Wow, congratulations.
So
Yeah.
when I say magic gives you what you need, magic will take care of you, I am a literal walking example of that. And Imbolc, the ritual we did on Imbolc, changed my life. I was suicidal. I was a hot mess. And trust me, I'm hot. You know, I told Tig the other day, I was like, I'm happy I'm alive for the first time in my entire life.
And I'd also like to say that because your son also got what he needed.
And my son also got
So
what
it
he
wasn't like
right.
you just need to be out of the way to make space.
Right.
He got what he needed.
Exactly.
All right,
Which is
so
good for him. And then it
one
all
thing
worked
I
out.
don't understand about this story, where is the aunt that died?
That's the whole thing. They didn't have to be
And the series of events that happened was so bizarre, and we were not when we did the ritual for you to find safety for you to
Yeah.
right. We did not expect that you would be moving in with me 2 weeks later. That's not what we were looking for. But that's what let the spirits solve your problems.
Yeah.
Yes. Anybody else have any questions?
May I make a comment?
Absolutely.
Isaiah, thank you for your openness and for sharing that with us.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you. I love you. And oh, hey, let me while I got everybody, I got a captive audience. We just 1 week ago. If any of you know me, for the last 2 years, I've been doing this thing called the Temple of Love, and so we are rebranding as Polyprism Witches, which is a space that we are going to be intentionally inclusive for BIPOC and queer communities, and minority ethnicity. Well, I was BIPOC. And we have a website where we're going to be doing a lot of stuff, and so if you guys are interested in that, please come and talk to either of us.
Yeah.
You know?
I have links. I actually made the website in 2 days, so do forgive me for any
Good
mistakes.
job, though.
But yeah, if you have any questions,
Yeah,
if
I'd
you
like
guys
to know
want to
more
talk to
about it.
me,
I'll talk to you guys.
Okay, yeah, definitely. I have time, so I'll just say basically one of the things that we're like, I don't know if anybody here is consider themselves LGBT or in the queer community, but it's not always, we don't always feel safe in these spaces. This space, yes, this space is very welcoming and it's very loving and it's very inclusive, but not all pagan spaces. Some pagan spaces are very racist. Some pagan spaces are very prejudiced.
Give me a call. I'll take your kneecaps.
Right. And so we are trying to intentionally create a community for people who have been kind of neglected a little bit. And so we're going to be doing a lot of things. We're going to be doing rituals. We're going to be doing support groups. We're going to be doing, one of the things that I am most excited about is fairy godparents, where somebody can adopt a person who's struggling, who's coming out, either as being gay, being trans, and they are struggling with that process, that they can get somebody who's more experienced to help mentor them. And so we're really excited about that. So look us up. We have a website. We're on Facebook. Anybody else have any questions?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I know you opened your session with the joke that you're autistic and you can't.
Oh no, it's not a joke. I'm autistic.
Well, it's funny. I'm autistic too, but like I'm very interested in the question of magic and healing from trauma.
Yes.
And specifically
That is
how
what I do.
neurodivergent people can access magic and ritual to heal from trauma. So if there was any specific research or thoughts you had, I mean, that's kind of what my workshop's on tomorrow.
Yeah. So
love to talk more, but,
Yeah.
but I mean, I think one of the things that you brought up talking about the history of magic is the history of psychiatry.
Yes.
Of like, pathologizing people who think differently, who see
Right.
differently,
Yes.
who experience differently, who sense differently.
Yes.
So like healing from being told that we're mad or insane or wrong for sensing, things that other people don't sense,
Right.
for example.
Right.
And I just, if you had any other thoughts you wanted to share on that, I'd love, for the group,
For the group, we will definitely talk later, but the thing I will say for the group is that as somebody who, I started out life very intelligent, and then I got hit in the head 6 times when I have 6 traumatic brain injuries, and I'm autistic, and I have a host of mental illness diagnoses, and I'm physically in pain all the time. God bless America. That was the United States military. Thank you. and so I think I have struggled with that, and I think the biggest thing that, as a neurodivergent person that has helped me get better at magic, is to listen to myself. If somebody in a book or a class or some program or some organization is trying to say, this is how you're a witch, this is how you do magic, do what works for you. Listen to yourself. If you do something and it doesn't work, don't do it anymore. There is so many different things that you can do, and guess what? Magic is imaginal. You can make it the fuck up, and it works just as good. Listen to yourself.
So in reference to exactly what you were sharing in terms of your pain and your injuries, because I'm sure, I know I do, and there's other people I'm sure in this room, turning to magic to support healing in that respect. What I'd like you to share any of your thoughts in that realm.
Well, I have used spirituality and magic practices to somewhat heal my body. Right now, there's not like, magic isn't magic. We're not turning pumpkins into like, it's not Disney magic. We're talking about the real world here. So some people do gain healing, complete and total healing. Most people don't. I was much worse off physically. Last year there was the last quarter of last year, I was in intense amount of pain and couldn't walk. Now I've been in pain every day for 20 years since I got hurt in the military, but I have used spiritual, and there's so many things. You talk about Reiki, Huna. I mean, there's so many different things. Just try and see what works for you.
Yeah.
I have mostly used it to heal my mind and to heal my heart. So that's much more. I am much more familiar with that than I am with physical healing. Did that answer your question?
Yeah. I mean, it's all, we each have our own path.
Right,
It's
right.
like there is no the answer.
Right, and that's the whole point. There's no answer. Like I could say, because what happens is a lot. When I first was introduced to shamanism, and that's one of the major things that I practice is shamanism, and it worked for me. So of course I began to go preach the gospel of shamanism. Oh my God, this works so well. Everybody got to do this. This is what works. And we all have seen people like that. You got to do tarot. Oh, you got to do astrology. That's what works for you. And just go out, and that's basically just try things. If you will know. Just like when I had my first shaman journey and it changed my life. You will know when you find your thing, the thing that works for you. I can't tell you what it is. You have to go out there and find it.
It's the same thing with people that want to say, like, take these vitamins or take these herbs or take this food. Works for them.
Exactly.
Doesn't work for everybody.
Exactly. Absolutely. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for coming. I appreciate you. I love you. Thank you.